Classes in session.
How you doing? And welcome to Unlearn 16 Classes in Session. Listen, I am sorry I missed last week. I think it's the first podcast week I've ever missed. My life has been a spectacle, a parade, a tornado of insanity, guys. And to top it all off, I had some weird laryngitis throat thing that was trying to take me down and out. Put all of that aside. When I was a kid, I want you to jump into this with me. We're gonna go for a bit of a walk today, guys. I don't know what to you just come with me, all right? Get a tea. Hunker down. When I was a kid, I was really quite good at a couple things. Following instruction, sort of operating within the parameters of, let's say, what school or the world wanted for me, as long as I was allowed to talk. All right? Two things define me. I colored inside the lines, metaphorically and quite literally. Nobody did a grade 9 geography map quite like I did. I was a coloring in the lines kind of kid. When I was growing up, I didn't have this I might have challenged teachers or whatever with some jokes and with me kind of getting to be the person that I was, but I really didn't challenge the structure. I didn't challenge what they were asking of me. I didn't question why an essay. I didn't question what about that history lesson. I didn't ask why we were studying a particular novel. Guys, I just did it. I figured out the structure, I figured out the game, and I did it. And I got good at it. And as I went through university, guess what? I got better at it. I got better at understanding what they expected and how to deliver it. And I remember at some point, I had a TA and a professor say to me, as I tried to give my opinion on something, that I love to give my opinion. Remember, I colored in the lines, but man, did I like to talk. And as I gave my opinion, he said to me, Joanna, you don't know enough yet to give your opinion. And I remember being so incredibly offended by that. Like, what do you mean I don't know enough to give my opinion? I have lots of opinions to give. And he said, listen, he goes, it's not that you're not smart. It's not that you can't understand the information. It is simply that you haven't read enough and you haven't learned enough about what's already been said. So, in that vein, you might have an opinion, but it might not be something new, something insightful, something powerful, because it's already been described, it's already been said. So, you need to learn more, you need to read more, you need to expand more, because then your opinion has context, it has value, it has weight. God, I hated that. You know what I hate even more about that? Damn guy was right. And the older you get, and the more insanity you step into and step through and get through, the more you understand. You're 25 and 30 years old. Damn, I didn't know anything. Because with the more that you accumulate, with the more knowledge you get, and the more critical, and not in a negative way, but critical in a nuanced way, critical in a I need to see the 37 sides to that point kind of way, that doesn't happen unless you get old enough to live through it, brave enough to ask questions, and I guess confident enough to keep giving your opinion. And it took me a long time to get to a place where I discovered that coloring inside the lines has limited me. That coloring inside the lines was just another way to say, world, give me structure, give me barriers, give me laneways to run in so that I know what to do, I know what to accomplish in order to get to the end, in order to get through, in order to do well. And so I did that for a very, very long time. Hell, I still do it a little bit, guys. Come on now. And you know where the magic lies? The magic doesn't lie in being aggressive or combative or simply argumentative for argumentative's sake. The magic lies in recognizing not that you need to color outside the lines, because to hell with them, they're making you and it's stupid and I shouldn't have to follow their rules. Here's the magic. The idea is you need to challenge the lines they've drawn that they then have told you to color within. Who, if you can realize that, if you can realize it's not the coloring that's the issue. Somebody, history, groups of people, societal, cultural realities have drawn us in lines. And when you're young, you scream about coloring within them. If you get old and you get a little bit wise, you don't scream at the coloring. You question the lines that have been drawn if they are the best thing for everybody to be coloring within. Why do I say all this? Well, guys, I've been a teacher my whole life. It's who I am. It really is a great part of my identity. Now, I went to school. I got good grades. I got my master's. I went to teacher's college. I got a job teaching. And I worked at the same school for 21 years. 21 years. And as all of you guys know, as of today, my school that has Metro Prep that has been open for 42 years is officially closing. My carefully drawn coloring book, gone. Now, you think I'd be freaking out? And let's be honest, just between you and I am just a little bit. However, because of what I've been through, divorce, because I've lost my grandma, I've gone through health scares, my mom, I've lost my dad, I've, gone through all of this very trying, very sometimes painful, revelatory challenges. Because I've done all of that, and because I was shoved so hard out of those lines, whether I wanted to be shoved or not, and now I stand from outside the perspective of that book and go, the lines were limiting. God, I'm very metaphorically deep tonight, aren't I? Because now I'm standing with Ryan, one of my best friends who I've worked with for the past 21 years, and we're on the precipice of starting a school, and starting a school in the chaos that what I described very quickly, very much in a reactive way. And I'm drawing upon all the other crazy things that have happened to me in the past 4 years. The social media stuff, the guest speaking stuff, the talking to people and giving an opinion and having debate and discussion and stepping way outside of those lines and recognizing, oh, this is where I should have been living. And as scary as all of this is, because guys, there's no guarantee, right? There's no guarantee of anything. And I can embrace that. There's no guarantee. I have this beautiful idea, this beautiful educational philosophy, this amazing person, and we have this amazing staff and community and family from that school, and I want to see it grow. And I realize that I don't care about the lines. That the only way to do this is to erase them all together. Lead with your heart, lead with your gut, and then have your intellect follow. Talk to people, reach out to people, lean on people, be transparent with people in hopes of creating and honoring a way of teaching and a way of education that is more powerful, more effective, more far reaching than anything I've ever done. So I sit here as I've erased all the lines, trying to figure out where to put my pen to paper. Trying to figure out if there are no lines, how do I start to color? And then I remember this, my big mouth. I remember stories my mom used to tell about how when I was little and she'd go on school trips when I was in elementary school and kindergarten, and they would take us places, and then we would, go to get, maple syrup tapping, or we would go to farms or whatever you do as a kid. And they'd always ask questions. This is the reality of me. They'd always ask questions, and I would shoot up my hand. First person, shoot up my hand. Yeah, Joanna, what's the answer? And I would say, I have no idea. I don't know. Um, okay, fine. They'd go to somewhere else. And then they put up another question. My mom would be sitting beside me with her head kind of shaking in her hand. They'd ask a question. I'd shoot up my hand again. Joanna, what's the answer? And I would say, I have no idea. I don't know. But damn it, if I wasn't the most confident, unaware little soul in the room, I don't know. And I don't even know where that came from. My mom was a shy kid. I don't know where all that came from. I knew I had something of value. I knew I wanted to be in the mix. I knew I wanted to have the conversation. It didn't matter that I didn't know the answer yet. But I was still going to have the chance to talk. And I feel like that's a bit of my soul. I think I was just born with it. And over COVID and lockdown and TikTok and social media and starting this podcast, I came to understand that it wasn't about being right or wrong in the answer. It was about I had a consistent need, a consistent confidence, a consistent desire to be a part of the conversation. And I think that's what education is. And as scary as all of this is, as structured as I thought it was, the older I get, the wiser I become, even if it's only a teeny, teeny, teeny wise, a baby wise, the more I realize it's about the conversation. It's about the debate. It's about the leaps of faith. It's about stepping and hoping the net appears. It's about if you're going to do something great, it's going to be as scary as you can possibly imagine. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to give you the school name. We're going to talk about, all the Letterman's jackets I've already designed. Forget all of that for a second. I want to talk very simply about our philosophy. And I'll talk about from my point of view. And I think later it would be great to have Ryan on here and talk about his. And I think it would be great to have other teachers, um, you know, who see things differently and talk about theirs. Because I think it's all about that dialogue. I think a great staff has different perspective. But here's what I think. I think in order to be educated, in order to truly inspire, you need to find a way that that student feels connected, feels empowered, and feels brave enough to raise their hand even if they don't know the answer. And then everything else is gravy. Everything else can come after that. The primary driving force of education isn't how good you are at mathematics. It isn't how many dates you memorize in history. It isn't the chords on a guitar. It's trying to find a way to instill, to grow, to highlight a student's sense of self-esteem and confidence to raise their hand anyway. That's the heart. That's the heart of my educational philosophy. Sure, it's critical thinking. Sure, it's debate. Sure, it's a hard work ethic, and it's expectation and consequence and follow through. It's all of that. You know what? None of that matters unless I can teach my kids, unless I can empower my students to raise their hand even if they don't know the right answer. But they're in the mix. But they're in the mix. And they know it doesn't matter if they're not perfect, if they're not right. It doesn't matter that they don't know it. The only thing that matters is their heart and their head are in it. They know that they have something amazing to offer. They have complete and utter confidence that they are in a room, and who they are and where they come from and where they are going matters. That's it. Tell me one other thing more important to education than that. Because if you can't do that, if you can't find a way through that, nothing else matters. I'm even going to go far as to say this. If you can't do that with students, then a 97 in mathematics isn't going to matter. It's not. Everybody talks about a work ethic. Everybody talks about responsibility and accountability. Everybody talks about academic, you know, academic inclination or SAT scores and IQ tests. And I say, none of that matters. Without figuring out, without focusing on, without digging deep. And sometimes with kids, you have to overcome, actually, a lot of times, you're going to have to overcome what's gone on before. The math class they failed in grade 3. The teacher that yelled at them in grade 5. The parent that didn't support them going to this kind of school. The friends who made fun of them for doing too well or not doing well enough. You have to figure out how each student is going to learn and engage and empower themselves before any of the other stuff works, before they learn it, or before they can use it in the real world. Work ethic will come. Accountability and high marks and accolades will follow when you figure out how to make them confident to put up their hand even when they don't know the answer. That's my goal. That's the foundation of the school, of a philosophy that I believe in. It's to teach the student, not the course. And you all know I don't mean adjust the curriculum and modify and do all the no 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 no. Teaching the student means if you can't figure out what inspires them, if you can't figure out what empowers them, if you can't figure out how to get their confidence, their mind, heart, and soul in the game and raise that hand, you're not going to do much else. That's my philosophy. And all of that means you kind of have to teach them not just to color out the lines, but to throw away the book. And I know that's weird coming from a teacher that likes structure, and I do, a teacher that knows that kids need structure because they do. But they also need to know when to challenge it. They also would need to know when to have faith in their ideas, in their opinions, and which way they're going to go. They also need to know that in and themselves, they have value, they have power, they have a unique perspective and a way of standing in this world that matters. Okay. Because if you can do that, if they fail a math test, who cares? They'll try differently next time. You know, there's a big difference between trying harder and trying differently. Studying longer and studying differently. Studying more and studying with a new perspective. Totally different things. We can't expect kids to know those different things unless we tell them the lines don't matter. Draw new lines. Find new pathways. Carve out ways that make sense to you. Talk about them. Embrace being wrong. Embrace not being good at something. Celebrate the freaking failure. Guys, I'm a horrible singer. You know what I want to do? Take singing lessons. Want to know why? Because those are the kind of people that need singing lessons. If you're not good at something, you don't just avoid it. Embrace it. I'm so exhausted of thinking that all of these students, and to be honest, adults walking around this world, think that they only can be good at things to do them. They should be the best. They should be this. They should be that. Everything else gets pushed aside because who needs it? And that's not what we're doing. And how am I going to make lots of money? And whatever happened to the Renaissance, man? Whatever happened to holistic education? Whatever happened to the understanding that if I'm not good at something, I don't just avoid it. I embrace it and say, how do I get better at it? Stop being ashamed. Stop feeling shame that I am not everything to all people, and I don't have to avoid the things I'm not good at because maybe tomorrow I'll be a little bit better. The only people that can do that, adults and students alike, are people that have an inner confidence to put up their hand when they don't know the answer. So as I sit here and I'm formulating and I'm working with my staff and this beautiful community of parents and students and staff members and we're sitting here talking about this incredible environment that we have the ability, the possibility to grow. I will forever try to find out as the primary focus of my educational philosophy. And God knows I've read enough of them. That it isn't about the material. It isn't about the curriculum. It isn't about the memorizational skills or how well you can debate or what organizational structure you can employ. The primary aspect of education is the student and their willingness to not be right, and their confidence to try again tomorrow anyways. Do you guys have that? Does somebody give that to you? I want all the comments written down. I want all your opinions. Every avenue that you can think that I need to go down and I need to think about, I want you telling me. Challenge me. Throw ideas at me, left, right, center. It doesn't matter. I want it all. I want it all because I want and I will push myself to create, and I will push everybody around me to create as we create together. All of those avenues to ensure not just a good mark, but to ensure that when a student walks out of our school, they walk into this world understanding that they draw their own lines and they put their hands up even when they don't know, but they figure it out for tomorrow. That's what I want. And that's what I want my school to be. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I know it was a little bit of a windy ride, but you're going to see a lot more of these because as I go, I'm going to build, and as I build and our staff builds, my school builds, the parents build, I'm going to include you along with me. So have a great night, guys. Throw lots of ideas in the comments, and I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Dismissed.